Let's. So, Edward, what brought you to Japan? Was it Ultraman?
Oh no, no, no. In fact, a quick story. As a kid, I was always fascinated with just various things: Nintendo games, some cartoons, martial arts,
Hmm.
and I was a big fan of Godzilla.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to know at one point in my life, I want to say about sixth grade, I wanted to know where all these things came from because I
Hmm.
thought they were all different entities. I didn't think they all came from the same place.
Okay.
And then the older I got, I realized they came from Japan. I started learning more about the culture, samurai, shogunate,
Hmm.
war, that kind of stuff, the history and the art, and I just became immersed into it. So,
Very nice. That's a lot like Phil's story.
really,
Yeah, he was really into what was it? He was really into Nintendo at first, and he was into Nintendo and asked his parents where it came from, and of course they said Japan, and they just kind of gradually snowballed into him coming over here.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah, all the other ALTs. It's been so interesting to see the differences of why some people have come over.
Really, yeah, yeah. I mean, we all have different reasons for coming.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Some of the other interviews. Let's see. Chris, the first interview, he came over because he was dragged over by his wife. And then some of the other ones, there was, of course, the anime or martial arts inspired. And for me, my grandma's Japanese, so it was always a connection there.
oh, okay, interesting. Nice, nice.
Yeah, but her family's all the way in Ibaraki near Tokyo. It's a
Really?
little bit
Oh,
far away.
okay, okay. So it's kind of a coming back to your roots, kind of.
Yeah,
It's never.
yeah, it's been interesting
Mm,
finding those roots.
yeah.
So, how long have you been in Japan?
I've been in Japan for a year and a half now.
Oh, okay. So when you came over, did you have a plan? Did you already have a job, ALT job set out, or did you just come willy
Like,
nilly?
well, originally, I had always told myself I was going to go to Japan,
Hmm.
and originally I was just going to wing it, just save up money and just come here and try to survive. But luckily, fortunately, I was able to find a job position with a company.
Okay,
So that definitely helped me out. And then from there, just come and experience what Japan had to offer.
very nice. And had you been abroad before coming to Japan to other
No, this
countries?
is my first time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So how is it so far?
Honestly, it was a breath of fresh air when I first came. The nostalgia kept me into this little bubble of fascination and being curious about everything. It's a entirely different ball game. So with that said, it was surreal at first, but now things are coming kind of winding down to the normal everyday life scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Speaking of ball games, have you been to any of the ball games here in Japan? The baseball games?
No, I'm not a
Oh,
baseball fan.
you gotta go though. It's completely different than back home.
Really,
100%. Yeah, they have their own cheer squads and cheerleaders, and it's 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 insane.
a baseball game?
Yeah, they got cheerleaders, and they have their own cheering squad with people with the taiko drums and big loudspeakers.
Well, I might have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm not a baseball fan either, but I go just to watch the cheer groups. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. Sounds interesting. I've seen them with the little things
Uh,
that.
yeah, the little inflatable ones or the cones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. That's something that really got me when I first came to Japan. The just how into their sports they are.
Yes. I knew they liked baseball, but I didn't know they really loved baseball.
Yeah, yeah, the mania behind everything.
Yeah, exactly. That and soccer.
Yeah, yeah. Soccer is it's interesting. In my schools, there's some students who are members of the professional soccer team already.
Really?
Yeah, they're in what is it? It's a seeding. They're seeding them to, or they're priming them to be in the team later on once they graduate high school.
Nice. I know that's a lot of work, but it sounds as though they're already set.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my kids actually going to Italy in what, a month for probably the remainder of the year to train.
Man, that is amazing.
I know. I wish I
Just
could go.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So besides sports, was there anything else that got you really surprised you when you came over?
Well, as far as surprises go, um, the foods. I will say the foods were a surprise. Um, also, the dialects on how different people in different areas act towards each other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, I wasn't. I was aware of how they may act towards me as a foreigner, but how they act towards each other. There's different ways you say things, and they can be misinterpreted. So, for example, if I'm in Tokyo and I have a Tokyo way of speaking, then if I were to say that in Osaka, it would kind of be a different meaning,
Yeah.
or they would, huh? I don't understand. So that was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, that's one thing that it took me a long time to get used to. I live out here in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing but rice fields, and the dialect out here is super strong. So
Uh-huh.
when you go into the city and you use that dialect, no one can understand you.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the kanji.
Oh.
I didn't know that some Japanese can't read kanji. They have to get assistance.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way that some of the Japanese teachers explain it to me is, now everyone has computers and the cell phones. They don't need to write everything, so they just put it in and it's automatic.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can feel a little bit of comfort in that sense, but still it makes me worried.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially disheartening when you're studying Japanese or this kanji. You ask your Japanese teacher, "Hey, what's this kanji mean?" And they just look at you with blank eyes. I have no idea.
Yeah, or maybe it's Chinese or just old kanji.
Yeah, there you go.
Use that.
That's the main excuse. There. Oh, it's just old. We don't use that one anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always interesting. Have you ever run into all of the when you go down to the main streets, all the people handing out tissue, all the little tissue packets to everyone?
Yes. I've only well, okay, in Soma, where I live now, Soma is town. It's a small town, so I don't get the experience. I don't get the chance to experience that. But it's only when I go to a city
Yeah.
or a shopping center when when they hand them out, they'll give them to you and say something. And so I don't really pay any attention. I just think it's a kind gesture.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first couple of years I came, I was blown away. I always went down to the big city and walked around, and by the end of the first year, I had a huge box of tissue that I never used. It's just, I mean, it's useful. It's just
Yeah.
kind of wasteful, just single package everything and
Yes,
throw it away.
I agree. I agree. They single package tissue. They single package soups. I mean, all the foods.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you can still make a mess. You can still make a mess trying to open the packaging
Oh, yeah.
of the foods.
Yeah, that's one thing that I wish Japan would change. Just packaging everything so much. It's just kind of wasteful. At least, I think so.
Yes. However, they must conserve energy in the schools. So there's perfect heat when it's hot outside, and then perfect air conditioning when it's cold outside.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to this winter.
Oh, neither am I.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had to start preparing for. I recently just went to H&M to buy some a sweatshirt, but I'm prepared. I have the heat tech already,
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm set.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's this time of year though. I always get all confused. It's so cold in the morning. It's starting to get cold, so I always put on a jacket and have long sleeves on. And by the end of the day, I'm taking everything off because I'm sweating like a hog.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's noticeably. Honestly, the one thing I've noticed is how the weather fluctuates just drastically, really fast.
Yeah.
It's noticeably cold or noticeably hot. There's not an in between usually.
Yeah. Yeah. How have you dealt with the moisture, the humidity?
Well, luckily, fortunately, I don't have to deal with it that bad. Um, I keep the air on
Oh,
all
okay.
the time, so I don't really have to deal with it in this apartment. My last apartment, there was a little bit of moisture, but no molding, none of that. The
Hmm.
horror stories that I've heard from other people.
Yeah. I remember another ALT friend I had. She lived in a Leo palace, and they had a bed set for her. She had to
Yeah.
use a futon, of course, but she never she never changed her futon, like flipped it over.
Hmm.
And by the time she moved out, she picked it up, and the whole bottom was black, and the bottom of the bed was of the actual bed frame was black as well because she never turned on the air. She never did anything. And she had
Wow.
to, yeah, she had to pay a lot of money to have that cleaned up.
Yeah, that's I mean, I have to have air conditioning.
You're lucky you have air conditioning.
Yes, yes. I honestly I can't sleep. Coming from the south, I can't sleep when it's hot. My body
Hmm.
automatically, if it's sunny outside and it's hot, my body will automatically wake up as early as it can. And yeah, I could be exhausted, tired, still wake up. I just can't sleep when it's hot or when there's sun in my face. I can't do it.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, out here in the middle of nowhere, we have nothing but rice fields around us, and so it is super hot in the middle of the summer, and
Hmm.
we don't have air conditioning out here.
You don't have air conditioning?
Nope. Yeah.
Wow.
Everything's been designed. It's a new house, and we have
Yeah.
we have one air conditioner, stuck on the side of the wall,
Hmm.
but everything's been designed as the cross air ventilation. So you just
Yeah.
open one window and open the one on the other side, and it'll vent the heat out.
Yeah.
But
I
even
see.
that, yeah, I wish I had more air conditioning.
Yeah. That's one scary thing. That's one thing I'm afraid of. I have to have air conditioning. That is the most important thing to me in a house or an apartment. Air conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, you're lucky. You looks like you're living in a pretty new apartment.
Well, I think this is a Leo Palace.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. The last one, another ALT lived in the same exact one. So
Wow.
when I was told I was going to a Leo Palace, I knew what I was getting. However, I didn't realize how expensive a Leo Palace's rent is. The place that I lived before, it used to be a girls only apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, hence why everything had more space and was a little nicer. But I didn't. The rent there was a lot cheaper. The rent there was really cheap, in fact, and it was bigger than this Leo Palace.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, hmm?
No, that's interesting. Just the
yeah,
difference.
yeah. Well, number one, I had a punching bag, one of those punching bags. Yeah, I had a punching bag that one of the AOTs that one of the previous AOTs that left there, plus a pull-up bar, plus room to dance, and a futon, one of those folding couch
Oh,
bed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I had that there in just this big space in the middle of the floor. Yeah, so I definitely had more space.
Wow. That's you got all that stuff from previous ALTs?
Well, the pull-up bar I bought for myself,
Yeah.
but the rest of the furniture came from previous ALTs.
Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That has to be nice. I never got anything from any previous ALTs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, in the area that I was located in, they had this guy that everybody would just go see. They would just go see him just to get stuff from other AOTs that they left that they don't want because they left or moved off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why I never saw any of that.
Yeah, I guess it must maybe middle of nowhere. That might be why. But then again, where I was located, it was just country, nothing, rice fields, mountains, and giant bugs.
Giant bugs. How? Let's see. What are the bugs that have surprised you, or have you? How are you with bugs?
Honestly, I'm not a fan of bugs. I hold compassion for animals, but I'm not necessarily a bug person. I think if forced to, I could grab one or pick it up, but I'm not like these kids. I won't grab these big giant beetles and look at this. I'm not going to do that. And the one bug that's actually freaked me out. In fact, one of my friends, one of my exes, it surprised her, and she was from Hiroshima. We both saw it at nighttime outside, coming from a festival, and it was, I don't know if it's a stag beetle. I thought it was called a longhorn beetle, but it was big.
Okay.
Yeah, and a couple of them lived out in my area. So at nighttime, I would leave the light on, and you could hear this loud thump on my window. And
Oh.
eventually, I went and looked to see what it was. It was the same kind of beetle trying to get in to my apartment.
Wow.
Yes, so that beetle has freaked me out because I've been told they can bite. So and they're big.
Yeah. Those. Yeah. They can bite, and then it hurts. But have you seen any of the spiders, the big green spiders out here?
I haven't encountered those. I've encountered a brown one, a
Oh,
big
okay.
brown one, but I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
seen the big green one.
Yeah. The big green ones are the things that always freak me out.
Really?
Oh yeah. They're actually a species of golden orb weave spiders.
Okay, I've heard of those. Yeah.
Yeah. They have them in Australia, and they actually came over here. And they just freak me out because every time you go by them, if you even touch their web, they'll start to shake like that
Uh huh.
to scare off
Really?
the predator. Oh, it scares me to death. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't have the tolerance of dealing with spiders at all. Um, I've always had a arachnophobia.
yeah, yeah. Little spiders I can do. Like little spiders crawling on me, I can flick them off. But the big spiders that are really fast, oh
Yeah.
no, no, thank
No,
you.
no, no. Mm-mm. Or the big hairy ones. I can't deal with. I just in my area in the states, we have black widows.
Hmm.
We have brown recluse, and there's another spider we have. It has a yellow and black design on its what is it, abdomen? Is that what I think? That's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, on its abdomen.
Yeah, it has a black and yellow design. Those are actually pretty big, and in the states they're rare to see. But when you see one, it's just whoa. So heavy arachnophobia. Um, the spiders in this area, I don't like, but I'm not afraid. I don't have to worry about checking under my shoe because if I get bit, I know I won't be poisoned or
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the if you ever see the green one though, it does have poison.
Really?
Yeah, but it's the same as a bee bite, so
Oh, okay.
it's not anything bad.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out here where I live, the big thing is the snakes.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen any of the snakes.
snakes are actually fairly rare in Japan, from what I understand. But out here, it's just all flat, and they like to come on the concrete and sun
Oh,
during the
really?
day. Yeah, so I've run across it this year 3 or 4 snakes, and they're all little rat snakes, except
Yeah.
for there's only one snake in Japan that's actually poisonous, and it's found throughout all Japan. It's I don't remember the name, but it's brown and red.
Brown and red.
Yep, brown and red. It's got a checker pattern on the back.
What is
Yeah.
that?
I don't remember the name, but yeah, in my time here, I've been here, what, 7 years? I've only seen that snake once. So they're fairly rare.
Lucky. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, speaking of snakes, well, this is kind of off topic. I didn't know that they did this. They make snake sake.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that they did this until I heard a Japanese guy give a speech about when he was a kid and how he used to hustle people by he would kill a snake and put it in a jar and fill it up and sell it. And I thought that's kind of weird until I realized, yeah, they actually drink snake sake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you go down to Okinawa, you can find it in bars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've drank it. I drank it only one time. Tastes like normal sake. It's
Really?
nothing special.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been told that it has special properties and it's very strong and
Well, I believe it's supposed to be an aphrodisiac.
okay.
So I don't know. I felt no effect. So
I understand.
yeah, all the bugs and everything around here.
Yeah, it's the insects. Now, another thing that I didn't realize was actually pretty big from this area are the what is it? Those cicadas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have cicadas in my area.
Okay.
In the States, back in my area in the States, we have cicadas, but the ones here look different than the ones back in the States.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in my home in Colorado, we don't have any.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Man,
never seen one.
every summer you hear that sound. I mean, it lights up the sky. I mean, just fills up the sky. You know they're out there. You just don't see them.
Wow. Yeah, I never heard that sound until I came to Japan.
Yeah, that sounds a little different. Here, well, I'm not sure in your area, but in my area, it sounds like they're laughing. It sounds like they're kind of laughing. But in the States, it's just very loud.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have any of them ever come into the schools while you're teaching, or have you had any bugs pop in while you're in a class?
Well, my old school last year, they left the windows open when it was hot. So we received all kinds of guests, all kinds of guests. The one that was notorious was the dragonfly, the big dragonfly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they would come in, and me being a first timer, seeing that, me thinking maybe I'm just exaggerating, and that dragonfly is not as big as I think it is. I'm just really freaking out because I don't really know about it. I don't know if it bites or stings or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, those used to freak me out, and we would get a lot of those.
Oh, that's interesting. The only thing that ever comes into my schools is the bees and the what are they called? The suzumebachi, the Japanese giant hornet.
I haven't seen. I think I've seen one of those. I've seen the hornets, but wow, really? You get those?
Yeah, they. I don't know why we have a certain kind of tree around the school, and it gives off a sap in the morning.
Yeah,
that it's really sweet, and so they always come and end up getting into the school.
Oh, I see. Well, it's a good thing it's a good thing no one's become gotten stung by one.
Oh, I know. It's so scary when they come in too, because you know that the reputation they have. So you just have to kind of like either kill them or kind of shoo them out somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in my area, we do have hornets. We have hornets and wasps, but I find that the hornets and wasps here, or even the bees, The bees I'm not worried about, but the hornets and wasps, they they tend to mind their own business. They don't really bother you, even if they fly by you. They don't. You can be careful, but if you just go on your straight path, the hornets usually doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I always hear every year about people getting attacked, and at least one person dies every year in Japan from attacks. But I don't understand how, because I've never. They've always just flown by me and
Yeah.
minded their own business.
Yeah, exactly. I've never encountered this. Yeah, I've thought about the same thing. I've always heard them being stung and dying and it's poisonous, but I see a couple of them and they fly right by me or
Yeah.
they go and I just kind of dodge and move out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of guests in the classroom,
Yeah.
how is it? How is your first year as an ALT going?
My first year as an AOT was honestly, I've had experience with kids.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, I loved it. I enjoyed it. I love getting out. I love going and teaching in classes and trying to mix fun with goofing off with the children. I enjoy that. It's you learn more about the kids. The kids from the adults entirely different. The kids tend to be a little more understanding, a little more open. Sometimes you have those two or three shy ones, but then you have those that are right on your level and they can understand what you're trying to convey to them.
Yeah. Well, what? So you've been here. You've been in classes for a while now. So what in the schools? What are your best and worst memories as an ALT?
Okay, well, let me think. I'll go into best memory. Um, Let me think. There's actually a lot. The best memories that I have is usually right before class, always before class starts. Okay, not when I get to school or when I say it to the students, but when it's that transition from first period to beginning class.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you go in and I have time to actually say hello to the students and goof off a little bit. Those are my best. Those are my best times because not everything is natural. It's not. It's not controlled, or there's not a sensei pushing the student to say something to me. It's just me coming in, being goofy, saying something to the students. Students are saying something to me. We start talking, and then depending upon the grade level, if it's elementary school, they start attacking, start touching me, and I'm trying to block them off, that kind of stuff. Then I have to run, and then the middle schoolers, they're saying something to me, and I'm joking with them. So just trying to lighten the mood a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually really important. I think just to get in class. I like to do the same thing. Get in class before everything starts and just walk around and talk to all the kids and
Yeah.
get them relaxed.
Yeah, exactly. The worst memories. Well, I did have a scenario where I was now, mind you, first time AOT. Okay,
Right.
and my first impression of Japan was honor and respect and code. So with that, with an American mindset, I'm thinking, okay, honorable. Then they're gonna come to me directly and tell me what I'm doing wrong. They're gonna come to me directly and just tell me you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
Right.
There have been situations where I've unknowingly done things that are not acceptable, and I wouldn't be informed about it until my boss was telling me, until I was hearing it from my boss.
Right.
Which is, in the States, is you mediate it first because the boss is the last resort.
Yep.
But those are kind of those are some of the worst memories to me, because I'm going in kind of, I will admit it, going in naive and gullible, and my my intentions are always positive. My intentions are always sincere. They're not insidious in any way. And when something like that comes about, then that hurts. That it's like, wow, I didn't know I was doing this, and I didn't know I was upsetting you. Or sometimes when the teachers, mind you, when they keep me out of the loop, it's kind of
Yeah.
a no matter what scenario. I know I'm a foreigner, and I understand that. I've always been a foreigner. I've been an outsider even in the States. That's no problem to me. But it's just that lack of social respect they don't sometimes show in front of the students, and the students will pick up on that, and then that student will see it as, oh well, you're just a foot soldier. I don't have to answer to you.
Yeah.
So all that mixed in together, it 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 kind of it makes it tough.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lot tougher than people think it's going to be when they first come.
Yeah.
So, so going off of that, what are some? I mean, what's some advice you'd give to new teachers coming in?
For new AOTs coming in, be aware of Hone Tatemai. Be aware of that. Okay.
Can you explain what
Um,
that is for the people who don't know?
well, the way that I was explained, it's they say it's romanticized. It's the Japanese way of being polite and trying to avoid situations. But to be truthful, it is not really being forthcoming with you or direct, not being direct with who you are. Um, Not who you are, but just what you're doing in a sense. For example, let's say on one sunny day, you go in and you say very loud, "Hello, everybody, konnichiwa," and you run around the classroom and you're very ginky, okay? Now, your Japanese teacher or all the other Japanese senseis will laugh and ha ha ha, and they won't say anything wrong at that point in time. What they'll do is they'll go behind your back and say something to your boss, and they will complain, and they will destroy you. They will say things that you did not see coming. I mean, it becomes way left field. So that's what Hone Tatemae is. Another prime example, if you go to a maid bar or even a snack bar, the girls are there to be pretty and funny and nice to you. But that's not really their true intention. That's Hone Tatemae. They're not showing themselves to you. They're putting up a mask, and you're talking to this mask. So you being a foreigner, your culture may encourage you to be very direct and straightforward to get the issues across or whatever issue that may approach. But with Japan, especially in the teachers area, not so much. So
Yeah,
be aware of that. Yeah.
yeah. Have you ever heard of going off of that? Have you ever heard of the what is it, Horenzo?
I've never heard of that.
Have you ever heard of Horenzo?
No.
What is it? I don't know the Japanese, but it Hokaku Rennaku Sogyo. So it's the way you like if you want to get a project through. Like I have an English pretty much handbook that students use.
Yeah.
And so when you want to do something like that, you have to go through a process. So first you give the idea, and that's so you give the idea, and then they'll give you feedback, which is renmaku. They'll give you the feedback, and you talk a little bit about it, and then you fix everything, go back again, give it back to them, and then you have the last meeting, the sogyo, I think, and it's just the way that they do things for meetings. It's more before a meeting you prepare, and then you give and take until the final product is finished. So instead of like I had a finished product, instead of slapping that on the desk and saying, here, I want to use this, I have to give it to them, let them consider it and change what they want, and then give it back to you, change it, and do it a couple times until it's perfect in their eyes.
Yeah. That sounds that sounds like something that I would hear about in Japan, but I've never heard of that expression.
Yeah.
In fact, I've never for elementary. I did the projects, and they wouldn't have a problem with the projects. I guess it wasn't on that scale
Right. Well, yeah.
to what you're doing. What I would do is just crafts and draw and write stuff and then put it on a poster and just show it and they'd like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never experienced that.
Yeah, I think more for bigger projects or cooking classes or culture classes, you'd have to do more of the Horenzo meeting style.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something that's come in handy for me. So yeah, I think Horenzo and there's a few others that are really there's a few business books that I've read about business in Japan that have come in pretty handy for getting the larger projects through.
Really?
There's only a couple that I read, yeah. But that Horenzo method is the thing that I've used the most out of everything I've ever read.
And it's worked with, especially with the schools, I presume.
Oh yeah. Especially with the schools. But in my case, I deal directly with the Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go to them before the schools and then to the schools. So I have to go through 3 different tiers. I have to go through the Board of Education, then the principal, then the teachers. Then I have to go all the way back and do it multiple times.
I know that has to be exhausting.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge when you want something done.
Yeah, mentally, yeah. Yeah, I understand their culture. I understand that when I first came here, I knew not to have any expectations. Just be open.
Right.
Okay, I learned from the YouTube videos of people who were so agog by Japan, and then they came, and then you see them, and they're like, I mean, looking sad as they're giving the interview. So I didn't want to set myself up to that. But with work culture, I feel like the office setting, it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of a cubicle, maybe once a cubicle in the area.
Yeah.
So you can have your own little me time.
Yeah, compared to the communal office.
Exactly.
You gotta have your private time sometimes.
Yes, because as a foreigner, they'll definitely. Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, even if it's just casual, they'll just come by. Oh, I see. Oh.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's not nerve wracking. It's just it's the principle. You just want to have that okay space to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of differences between back home and in Japan, especially in the business culture.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So interesting.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well,
very unique.
Yeah, Edward, we're about running on time, so before, I guess the last question: do you have anything that you'd like to talk about? Like if you have any classes you can teach or anything that you can help out?
Yeah. Sure. If anybody's interested, I'll be more than glad to teach you how to dance. I've been a b-boy for 10 plus years actually. I'm pretty old, but I can teach you the basics, even some power moves if you're interested in that, or if you're interested in learning parkour. Both of these things I practice. So I'm more than glad to have a meetup group or teach people who are interested in these things, that are actually interested in these things, and we can have some fun.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Edward. Well, that is about time. We're gonna go over a little bit. So, thank you so much for taking the time out to have the interview with me.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
Of course. All righty.